I always knew my family had a thing for appearances, but I didn't realize how far they'd go until the day I got married. I'm the oldest, the responsible one, the planner. My younger brother Nathan has always been the golden boy, the charming, spontaneous, life-of-the-party type that people naturally gravitate toward. My parents doted on him from day one. It was never malicious, just obvious. Growing up, I was the kid who got praised for good grades. Nathan got applauded for showing up. I was the one who helped clean after dinner. Nathan got to watch TV because he had a long day. I learned not to expect much. It just became easier to handle things myself than to ask for help and be disappointed. So when I got engaged to the love of my life, Emily, I knew I'd be planning most of the wedding. And honestly, I didn't mind. Emily and I had been together for 4 years. She's steady and thoughtful and not big on drama. A nurse. The kind of person who folds towels properly and actually enjoys reading instruction manuals. We make sense. Wanted our wedding to feel like us. Low-key, elegant, real. We booked a vineyard venue just outside our hometown, something that gave us nature, intimacy, and a little class. Nothing flashy, just honest and meaningful. From the start, though, my mom kept offering suggestions. And by suggestions, I mean full-on plans, complete with Pinterest boards and vendor contacts. Wouldn't it be more elegant to use navy and gold instead of sage and ivory? Do you really want a short ceremony? People expect something more substantial. Oh, Nathan's girlfriend is helping with florals. She has such good taste. Maybe she can assist your planner? Emily was patient. Too patient, if I'm honest. She let my mom chip away at details that weren't even hers to control. And every time I tried to push back, I got the same line. It's your wedding, of course. I'm just trying to help. Nathan, for his part, seemed unusually invested. At first, I was touched. He offered to organize our bachelor party, helped choose groomsmen gifts, even tagged along for the food tasting. But there was this one moment that stuck with me. We were finalizing our reception layout, and Nathan pulled me aside to ask what the budget was for the decor. I told him, and he nodded thoughtfully. Huh. Good to know, he said. Might come in handy down the line. I remember thinking, for what? You're not even engaged. But I let it go. I was stressed, juggling work deadlines and family drama. I didn't have the energy to overthink. The wedding day came, and it was, on the surface, beautiful. The sun hit the vineyard just right. Emily looked stunning. My suit actually fit. The ceremony went off without a hitch. But the reception felt weird. Not ruined, just off. The way the photographer directed the shots felt choreographed beyond what we asked for. My mom kept whispering into her phone, then smiling like she was pretending not to be annoyed. Nathan kept disappearing. Not in a rude way, just long enough to make me wonder. And then came the toasts. My dad stood up, raised his glass, and began with, "What a wonderful day. What a practice run for everything that's to come." Everyone laughed, including me, because I assumed it was a slip. A bad joke. Something old people say without realizing how weird it sounds. But then my mom stood up. "I have to admit," she said with a grin, "I'm so glad we did this. It gave us all a chance to get our ducks in a row. You never really know how a venue will perform until you test it." Emily and I shared a glance. Confused, then Nathan stood up, glass in hand, and, I kid you not, said, "Thanks for letting us try it first, bro." The room erupted in laughter again, but I wasn't laughing. What the hell were they talking about? Afterward, during the dancing, I asked Nathan what he meant. He just smiled and said, "You'll see. Big things coming." That night, as Emily and I got into our hotel suite, I pulled out my phone and saw the notification, a tagged photo. From Nathan's girlfriend. It was a picture of the wedding cake. The caption read, "Perfect rehearsal for next summer. Can't wait for the real thing." I froze. Emily leaned over my shoulder. What the hell does that mean? That was the first night of our marriage, and I had no idea that my entire wedding had been used by my own family as a test run for someone else's. I didn't sleep that night, not because of nerves or excitement or even jet lag. It was rage. Quiet, boiling, poisonous rage that coiled around my chest and made it hard to breathe. Emily didn't talk much either. She just sat beside me on the edge of the bed, scrolling through the comments under Nathan's girlfriend's post. People were congratulating them. Heart emojis, winking jokes. Can't wait to see your version, and hope the wine's just as good at yours. Somehow, my wedding, the one I spent months planning, saving for, losing sleep over, had become a joke, a preview. Emily turned to me at one point and said, "Was our wedding just a test drive for your brothers?" I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to say yes, but the evidence was everywhere. In the morning, I got a text from my mom. No, good morning, newlyweds. No, how was your first night as husband and wife? Just, can you send me the name of the linen company? Again? Nathan wants to get a quote before we book. I stared at the message, and the pieces began locking into place. The push for the vineyard. The photographer she insisted we hire. The band? The layout? The seating chart templates? They were collecting data. Through me. I was their prototype. They just needed me to shut up and perform. I replied with one word. No. She didn't respond. A few hours later, Emily and I checked out and drove to a cabin for a short honeymoon. Nothing fancy. Just a few days of breathing room before work. The mood was off. We tried to enjoy it, but the cloud was heavy. I could feel Emily trying not to talk about it, not to ruin the first week of our marriage, but we were both haunted by it. On the third day, she finally broke. "We need to talk," she said over breakfast. "This thing with your family, it's not normal," I nodded. "They used our wedding to prep for Nathan's," she said. "And I think you've known something was off for weeks, maybe longer." I wanted to deny it, to defend my family, but I couldn't. She was right, so I told her everything. The decor budget question, the weird toast, the phone calls, the way Nathan kept disappearing during the reception. Emily didn't yell. She didn't even cry. She just stared out the window and said, "We need boundaries. I'm not doing this for the rest of my life." That word stuck with me. Boundaries. When we got back to town, I decided I was done playing the quiet, obedient. "Son, I called my mom. What exactly did you mean by rehearsal?" I asked. She paused, then gave a tight little laugh. "Oh, don't be dramatic. You're reading into things." "Did you suggest the vineyard because Nathan wanted to see it?" Silence. "Did you push the photographer, the band, the layout, because he wanted to know how it would all play out for his wedding?" She let out a sigh. "Honey, it's not like that. We just wanted things to go smoothly. For everyone." I almost dropped the phone. "For everyone?" "You used my wedding!" "I didn't use anything," she snapped. "You should be grateful we helped make it beautiful. You barely had any vision. We had to step in." That was the moment I realized something horrible. They never saw my wedding as mine. They saw it as theirs. A tool, a placeholder, a practice run for their real star, Nathan. That week, Nathan and his girlfriend officially announced their engagement. He posted the same vineyard photo with the caption, "Couldn't have picked a better place. Can't wait to do it right next year." I don't know what enraged me more, the implication that ours had been wrong, or the way people just smiled and congratulated him like none of this was disgusting. I called him. "You planned your wedding based on mine," I said. He laughed. "I mean, yeah. Why wouldn't I? You already did all the hard work." I was stunned. "You think that's okay?" "Dude," he said, "you should take it as a compliment. You made it easy. You were the warm-up act. Chill out." I hung up. Didn't speak to Nathan again for 3 months. Emily and I slowly started pulling away. declining invitations, ignoring group texts, cutting back on family dinners. Every time we saw them, it was just a reminder we were the dress rehearsal. They were saving the standing ovation for someone else. But here's the thing. I wasn't done. Not yet. I started thinking about my boundaries and what it would look like if I actually enforced them. Not just silence, not just space, but something that would make them remember that my life isn't a rehearsal. Something that would finally put me in control. And it started with a single email. To the Vineyard. The email I sent to the Vineyard was simple. Hi, I recently had my wedding at your venue and loved the experience. I heard my brother, Nathan, last name, is interested in booking your place for next summer. I'd like to formally withdraw my testimonial and photo permissions from all your promotional materials and request to be notified if any family members reference our contract or design choices for their own event. Thanks in advance. Their manager responded within a day, politely, but with a tinge of concern. Apparently, Nathan's fiancée had already started discussions using our wedding as a template. She'd even requested our exact photographer and table layout. I asked the venue for a list of everything they'd shared with her based on our wedding. It was more than I expected. Vendor contacts, our decor palette, even the floral arrangements. All presented to Nathan and his fiancée as proven successful. They hadn't just copied us. They were recycling us. So I told the Vineyard to stop sharing anything related to my event. I didn't threaten legal action, but I hinted at copyright issues and photo permissions, and that was enough. They agreed. Then I made a few more calls. The photographer? I asked him to take down our wedding album from his portfolio and deny access to any family requests for the same shot list. The band? I told them they could keep the deposit from our wedding, but not to accept a booking from anyone connected to my last name. Even the linen company, I warned them not to reuse our custom designs. Petty? Maybe. Necessary? Absolutely. Emily wasn't sure at first. Is this really worth it? She asked one night. I mean, they'll just find other vendors. But I told her they don't want a wedding. They want ours. And I'm taking it back. The next time my mom called, it was a full-blown meltdown. What are you doing? She shrieked. Nathan said the Vineyard suddenly won't return their emails. I stayed calm. I asked them not to share anything related to our wedding, I said. That includes designs, layouts, and vendor references. You can't do that. I already did. She went silent. Then, you're punishing your brother because he wanted to use what worked. No, I said. I'm protecting what's mine. You turned my wedding into a prototype, and now you're mad that the prototype fought back. She tried guilt. She tried tears. She even tried to drag Emily into it, saying she was disappointed in her for letting this happen. That was the final straw. Emily took the phone from me and said, "If you cared half as much about our wedding as you do about Nathan's, we wouldn't be having this conversation," and hung up. After that, the silence was blissful, until the invitation came. 3 months later, we got a fancy gold-trimmed envelope in the mail. Nathan and his fiancée were getting married at a luxury resort out of state. Nothing like our Vineyard. New venue. Different theme. No signs of replication. They had been forced to start from scratch. And here's the kicker. They invited us as guests. Not groomsmen, not best man, just guests. No assigned speech, no family table, just optional attendance in the fine print. I didn't respond. Emily and I spent that weekend at a beach cabin instead. Just us, no noise, no pressure. But a friend who attended sent me photos. The wedding was fine, pretty. But it didn't feel special. It didn't have the intimacy or warmth that ours did. Just production value and price tags. Apparently, they tried to write their own vows, but Nathan forgot his halfway through and made a joke about just winging it like always. My mom, according to the friend, was devastated that the cake was dry and the playlist was off. I sat on that beach, holding Emily's hand, watching the sun go down. And I realized something. They wanted our wedding because they didn't know how to build their own. They wanted our blueprint because they had nothing original to offer, and when I took it away, they were forced to be themselves, and it didn't work. It took a while, but life began to feel normal again, or at least peaceful. Emily and I moved forward. We focused on our careers, went on weekend trips, and started talking about getting a dog. The drama faded like old wallpaper, still there if you looked close enough, but no longer part of the room's design. I didn't talk to my family much after Nathan's wedding. There were a few attempts. My mom tried to patch things up with half-hearted messages. My dad stayed quiet, the way he always had, supporting from the sidelines without ever stepping in. Nathan? He didn't bother. The one time we ran into each other, at a distant cousin's baby shower, he just nodded at me like we were co-workers, not brothers. Like the whole wedding saga had just been a speed bump on his road to glory. I wasn't mad anymore, just done. But then, a few months later, the karma came, knocking. It started with a Facebook post. Emily was the first to see it. Nathan's wife, now a self-declared event content creator, posted a video complaining that their wedding photographer lost half their footage. No highlight reel, no father-daughter dance. The audio was garbage. We spent thousands. And got TikTok quality trash, she wrote. Emily showed it to me with a smirk. Guess they should have used your guy. Then came the texts. Not to me, to my mom, who couldn't help but leak the drama during a phone call I accidentally picked up out of habit. Turns out, the luxury resort double-booked their venue. Nathan and his wife had to delay their ceremony by 3 hours, and guests were fuming. Some relatives left early, others got drunk before dinner and heckled the toasts. Their marriage began in chaos, not magic, and then the cherry on top. My mom called one night, emotional. Apparently, Nathan and his wife had gotten into a huge fight over finances. The wedding had drained their savings, and his wife was demanding that my parents help pay off the rest of the bills. Mom was sobbing. They're asking us for help. After all we already did. And she won't stop comparing everything to your wedding. Says you got the better deal. That last part hit me like cold water. The test run? The one that was supposed to be practice? It was suddenly the better deal. I should have felt vindicated. I should have laughed, but instead I just felt tired. That was when I told my mom, flatly. This is what happens when you treat people like stepping stones. She didn't answer. I said, you wanted to make Nathan's day perfect. You used mine to do it. And now that it's gone sideways, you're calling me? Still nothing. So I said, we're not the safety net anymore. Emily and I, we're out. Don't call again unless it's about something real. Not Nathan, not his chaos. Real. And then I hung up. That was the last conversation I had with my family for over a year. Emily and I bought a house. We adopted a goofy rescue dog named Milo. We started hosting dinners with friends who felt more like family than my own blood ever did. We built our own life. From scratch, no templates. And yeah, every now and then, I'd see a post from Nathan or my mom, some new mess, some new fake milestone. But it didn't sting anymore, because I had something they didn't. A marriage built on truth, not aesthetics. A wife who chose me, not the optics. And a wedding that, no matter what they tried to do with it, was mine, through and through. They can keep their rehearsals. I'm living in the real thing.